we would first like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Wee-Wurrung people. We pay our respect to their elders, past and present, and we are committed to a positive future for the Aboriginal community. Here at St Mary's Primary School, we are focused on delivering humanities education in a meaningful and inclusive way. We believe it is imperative to teach humanities and its 4 domains, including history, geography, business and economics, and civics and citizenships, which are outlined within the Victorian curriculum. These areas are influential for your child's learning, as they will be able to make connections between personal and global contexts while considering potential changes for the future. Various themes are explored throughout this process, including individual identities, experiences before, during, and after the European colonisation, as well as the continuous connection with country, place, and their cultural value of place. Your child will develop important qualities and skills within the humanities, including critical thinking, problem solving, compassion, empathy, justice, and equality through a variety of tasks and activities that they will be involved in. The exploration of these topics allow us to deliver content which is relevant to students of varied backgrounds and cultures, including Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Humanities gives students an opportunity to investigate social, cultural, political, and economic aspects through history and broaden their understanding on how to connect and communicate with other nationalities.
Well, I went into the dormitory as a tiny babe. I was 6.5 months old. My mother was 19. I said to Mum, "Tell me how you felt when they took us away." She said, "Well, I wasn't supposed to be taken away." She said, "I went there to settle your granny and your grandfather into Cherbourg because it was 1929. The Depression was on and it was hard for him, and the policeman said, if you go to Bramber," that's what it was called then, "they'll look after you with food and stuff." He said, "then you can come back again." She thought, a little while wouldn't be hurt us. I'll take Ruth with me and we'll go there. She wasn't allowed out.
We believe it's important to incorporate the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers Focus Areas 1.4 and 2.4 into the curriculum. These strategies are teaching Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students to understand and respect Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and promote reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. By using these, our educators will demonstrate a broad knowledge and understanding of the impact of culture, identity, and linguistic backgrounds on the education of students from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander backgrounds, and have respect for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories, cultures, and languages. When teaching about the first Australians, our educators use the Respect, Relationship, and Reconciliation module. This creates mutual respect, positive relationships with others, and engage in reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. We as a school celebrate diversity and encourage our students to understand the beliefs, ideals and culture of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities. St Mary's has also developed a whole school approach that involves in the inclusion of families, Aboriginal elders and the wider community to help facilitate Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives throughout our school community. Students will explore the relationships Indigenous communities have with their families, culture, place and country. We nurture Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students to see themselves, their identity and culture reflected throughout the curriculum. By building stronger relationships within our community, it enables us to close the gap in equality and to achieve a shared sense of fairness and justice.
They brought them to the dormitories. Once you were taken from your parent, you had no more connection with them. No more. Absolutely nothing. We were removed from our families. And when I was 5, then they sent her away. As they did to most of the mothers, they sent them out to work. So they didn't give anybody a chance to lead another life. I mean, there were people who knew that it was wrong, but they just kept us there. So I was there till I was 14. People would say it was for your own good, but my own good was to stay with my mum.
But they don't know the pain in me, 'cause they can't know what I can see. I'm surrounded by misery. I'd like to be always free, far away home.
We believe that teaching humanities is best done by using a pedagogical approach where educators incorporate the humanities learning areas. We also include the 3 cross-curriculum priorities into the Australian curriculum that have been created by the Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership. They are Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander history and culture, Asia and Australia's engagement with Asia, and sustainability, with other curriculum learning areas such as English, mathematics, the arts and science. This pedagogical approach or practice of teaching allows teachers to incorporate the humanities learning areas in a meaningful, authentic and broad sense, giving students the necessary time to explore and discover through their own learning journey. Looking at teaching Indigenous history, teachers should be incorporating aspects of geography, maths, English, and many other areas from the Victorian curriculum. Students should be continually reflecting on their learning and work through an inquiry-based teaching style and be assessed using both summative and formative assessment strategies.
Australia Day. It's an interesting one.
Don't you mean Invasion Day?
It means different things for different people. For us, it means survival.
Invasion Day, our survival.
Survival Day.
And celebrations of survival of one of the oldest cultures, if not the oldest culture on the earth.
Racism.
I think a joke.
It's really sad.
My gut drops.
It does bring up a lot of hurt, a lot of heartache.
It's like somebody that comes into your house, does horrible things to your family, and they're like, dude, we're gonna have a party and have a barbecue and listen to Triple J. Yeah, and we're gonna put it on the date we turned up. And you're like, that's kind of sadistic, man. Like, why would you do that?
People celebrating the day that your people got slaughtered and invaded, and the day that caused all that destruction and all that suffering to very peaceful people.
For a lot of Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islanders, it's a day of mourning.
At St Mary's Primary School, we use assessments to support our students' learning and deepen their understanding of our classroom topics. Within the humanities stream, at the grade 3 level, we focus on 3 main forms of assessment: assessment as, of, and for learning. We understand that everyone is different. We all learn differently and we attempt to recognise this throughout our assessments. For all students, we take on one main assessment type which meets all 3 forms of assessment. We begin by aiming to set a goal and achieve success within the student's learning throughout the topic. These goals focus on each student individually using the SMART goal technique to scaffold their learning. Throughout the topic, us teachers ask open-ended questions that allow the student to reflect on the process of their learning throughout the unit. We then use teacher, peer, and self-feedback through verbal and written techniques to allow the students to explore how they learn. Students are then given the chance to reflect on their learning. They focus on what they learnt, how they learnt, and what they still need to learn. Here at St Mary's, we aim for individual success within every student, And we do this through focusing all our assessments on the main idea of goal setting. By documenting and celebrating our students' work, we are showing the children that we value the effort they put in while engaging parents and guiding our future planning as teachers. We use various ways to celebrate your children's work, including hanging out work around the classroom or school, including student work within the school newsletter, and presentations of students' work during assemblies, as well as updated posts on the school website.
If it's truly a celebration of what we are as a nation, then we need to include the First Nations of this country.
A day that we could all celebrate.
I'll help you celebrate it if you like.
We're quite inclusive people, so we just want to be included as well.
Maybe you should celebrate Australia as a whole and as it was before, and think about who's included in that culture when you're celebrating.